All right. Awesome. 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 So I'm so glad you guys are here. Um, we have a very jam-packed masterclass today. So we are going to get started right away so that I can get everything in the time. So welcome to the Step Into Your Magnificence Masterclass. Okay. I am like literally, I was just saying before we started the recording that I made this into a 2-hour masterclass because originally I just had a 1-hour workshop for you guys. But as I was creating it, I was like, well, I want to say this and I want to tell them this and I want to add this. And so I realized it just had to be a 2-hour masterclass. So I'm so excited to share everything that I'm going to share with you today. This is going to be jam-packed. I'm going to help you step into 2026 with greater clarity and self-trust. Huge. You're going to recognize some patterns that maybe have been keeping you stuck, or maybe your life on repeat, some patterns repeating. You're going to discover one brave, grounded decision that will change how you show up for yourself and your life. I'm going to debunk the most common belief that sabotages your ability to manifest and give you the exact process to manifesting, which I'm so excited to share with you guys. And for those of you who want to continue working with me, I'm also going to share a very new, exciting way you can do that. So let's get into it. So first of all, I want you to know that this masterclass is for you if you've attended all the previous workshops, some of the workshops, none of the workshops, or you're on team replay and you've just been watching them when you get to have some time to do that. And whatever like emotions drew you to sign up for the workshop series or the masterclass, you are going to get what you came for today. And I want to like assure people, like preface this, that you're not here to fix yourself, right? Because you're not broken. Like none of us are broken. And I hear that a lot, when I'm working with clients that's how they feel about themselves. And I want you to know that that is absolutely not true. Like you don't have to fix yourself because you were never broken. Okay. So this masterclass is about freeing yourself just to become who you are available to be. Like it's who you are, but it's like clearing out the weeds that are in the way of letting you have what you want, be who you want. Okay. So this is about freeing yourself so that you can be who you want and have what you want. And like the messaging that we get is that sometimes it's like we should be further ahead, right? That, we should be maybe like if we start comparing ourselves to other people, then we get this concept that, oh, I'm behind, or maybe I've done something wrong, or maybe it's too late. So that's another like thing I want to just like debunk right now, because you are always right on time for yourself, like for your own life. You're always right on time for that. Okay. So I did open the chat. We're gonna use the chat today. You guys both know how to do that, so we don't need to do that. I will be checking the chat, and also I've got slides and my notes. So just to so I can stay on time, I will just be checking back and forth with those things because, me, I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah. You
I
guys
just need
know.
to step up. I just need to step out of the screen to grab my book and pen. I realized I don't have them on the table with me, but I'm still listening.
Okay. Yes. Shanae, that Charmaine is in Mexico right now.
What?
Yes. Yeah. She's tuning in from Mexico right now.
Wow.
I know. It's so awesome. She was showing me before I started the recording. She was showing her view of the ocean. And I'm like, okay,
nice.
We'll be there this afternoon, Charmaine. We're on our way.
What a perfect view for the session today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have the curtain closed behind me, and the ocean's really loud, so I can't sit outside because I love it. I do love it, but it's like the waves are just like crashing in like hardcore. So I was like, I can't sit outside here for this.
All we would hear is just ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which would be, that's always a
Not
good
too
thing.
bad.
Yeah, that's a good way to spend some time for sure. Okay, so we are at the beginning of a new year. So, fresh start, clean slate, brand new chapter. And this is the time of year when we like really feel that pull for like things to be different. And especially this year, as you guys know, I put in the Sunday surprise email at the beginning of January that this is a 1 year in numerology. So we just completed this big 9 year cycle. And the 1 year is all about like fresh starts, new beginnings, like expansive change. It's planting new seeds for like what we want this next 9 year cycle to be. And while that can be like super exciting, it can also be like a little overwhelming and even paralyzing because there's this dichotomy that happens whereby capable women, so us, you, I, us, we are the most likely to feel stuck, restless, dissatisfied, or just like simply just yearning for more. And at the same time, we're also the most likely to feel guilt about it because guilt, guilt is like so ingrained in us, right? Like we are so conditioned to feel guilt. And so, we've got this guilty conscience that tells us like to put everyone else and their needs first, to not rock the boat, to be grateful for what we have already, and that us wanting more somehow means that means less for somebody else. And so that guilt stops us, right? And it gets confused in our nervous system with danger because women in general, in our culture and in our families and historically, have been criticized and punished and rejected and abandoned and even freaking burned at the stake for like wanting more and being more. And even like in modern day, if we look at like two of the wealthiest women in the world, we look at like Oprah and Martha Stewart. In the late 90s, the Texas cattle industry tried to sue and discredit and defame and take Oprah down several pegs for dissing hamburger. And then Martha Stewart actually went to jail for doing less than men in the stock market and in investing do every single day. So was it about beef or inside trading? Hell no. It was an attempt for the old boys club to guilt these two extremely powerful women and put them back in their place.
Yes.
Yeah. So between the conditioning to not be selfish and to not put, and to put everybody else ahead of us all the time, and then the fear of judgment, the guilt just shuts us right down, right? It just overrides our desires. So we sit back down and we tell ourselves, well, I don't really know what I want anyways. And then we tell ourselves an even bigger story that we lost ourselves. I lost myself. Because it's like, well, I'm going to tell myself that I don't know what I want because I really am afraid to have it because I don't want the judgment and I don't want to feel the guilt. And so then the bigger story becomes, well, I feel like I've lost myself because we've disconnected from what we want, right? So you didn't lose yourself, you just adapted. And like you might have forgot yourself, but you didn't lose yourself, right? You adapted and you adapted to survival patterns. So the way that we adapt to avoid that judgment or that criticism or that abandonment is that we adapt these survival patterns of people pleasing and perfectionism, over responsibility, self-abandonment. We do all of that so that we can like earn love, earn validation, stay safe, not be criticized. And then we also adapt to the stories that we tell ourselves. Like, well, I don't really know what I want anyways. It's too late for me. I should really just be past this. I should just be grateful for what I have. And then we also adapt our beliefs. So what's possible for us, what's available to us, what we think we're worthy of, just so that we can play inside the rules that the culture deems acceptable for us. So these two things, the like quiet craving for more and then the guilt, they cancel each other out, right? So then we stay stuck. We stay restless. We stay quietly dissatisfied, resentful. And yeah, we get resentful. Like we get angry about it. It's like, it's frustrating to stay stuck, right? And it feels like life's on repeat, right? So in your guidebook, the pattern that once helped protect you, that now, in our lives today is now actually limiting us. It's hindering us. So we want to just like identify those. It's not about blame. Okay. This is just about having our own clarity, because then once we see it, then we have the ability to do something about it. Like it's the doorway to it. So what is the survival pattern that you notice that is in your own life? So the people
Mine
pleasing,
is
pushing through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just overriding like yourself. You're just like, no, I'll just ignore what I need and I'll just keep pushing through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of other things that come along with the pushing through. And, because you could probably attach people pleasing to it. You could probably attach, like fear of exclusion and, like you can attach a lot of things to pushing through. But I think that is like on a broader scope, that is, I just push through regardless of what my body or even my mind is telling me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that is, I love that you're saying that, because that is like a coverall for all those other things. It's like that pushing through. Yeah. It's like the self-abandonment. It's like, the people pleasing could be like some perfectionism. Like I'll just keep pushing through till I get it right. Like it's, yeah.
No, and January's been a prime example of that for me. I think the last 3 years has been a pretty good example of that for me, but the last 3 weeks, and while I did make some like decide not to push through in certain ways, like I made some changes, getting these projects off my plate and stuff was just like, it doesn't matter if I've got time. I got to push through and I got to get it done. And I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, it'll start showing up in your health.
Yeah.
It did. I had a blackout session.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and on January 5th, I returned to work and I blacked out. And just before I was getting on a school bus, and I smashed my face off the stairs. And so I've been recovering from that. And it's not just it's a physical recovery for sure. And I just recently, like the doctor phoned me this week and informed me that the tests are saying I had a heart attack. And so, like they have to do more tests because the blood work doesn't show that. But I got up, spent the day in the hospital and went back to work.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't, I took the day in the hospital because I had no choice. But the rest of me, I did, but on the same token, I didn't work the weekend. And then the next weekend when I went home thinking that I would do some work from home, I didn't, so I did make adjustments, but it's a prime example of just pushing through till you get it done.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And having this trip on the books for the Friday, I knew I had to get it done because there was no one else there to pick up where I could leave off. And I had a deadline. Deadlines do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're really like this pattern is really coming up for you because like it's time to heal it, because that's what happens. The patterns come up, they show themselves because it's like, okay, it's time for us to see this and release it. Like not let it keep impacting your life, because that's a very serious like the pebble from the universe, and then it becomes a rock, and then it becomes a brick, and then it's a
Yeah.
boulder, right? It's
Yeah. I think it was a whole mountain.
yeah.
Yeah. They're like, hey, you're still not getting it. Let's just toss
Yeah.
this comet at you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So how
So
did that pattern once serve you? So that's the other thing. So Shanae, what did you recognize?
Um, it's funny because you have all these little like examples written under the reflection
Mm-hmm.
number 1, and I'm like, yep, 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 yep.
Check, 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 check.
Check. D, all of above.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so like how did those serve you? Like, pick one or two and just think like, how did those serve you at one time? Like they help you stay safe, they helped you belong, they helped you cope, they helped you avoid judgment. How did those somehow serve you in some way at some
I
point in your life?
I guess it helped me stay small.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And staying small is a way to stay safe. Like if I
Yeah.
say stay small and nobody sees me, I'm going to avoid judgment. I'm going to avoid doing anything wrong, because if nobody knows and sees anything, well then nobody can say anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a way of staying safe.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
and
had a
it's interesting that you say that, and that for Shanae, of staying small and so that you were unseen, because I do the same. I would say yes to all of the above, but mine wasn't about staying small. It was about staying seen, that I was actually accomplishing everything that they set in front of me. So not like I was looking for this, like to be this big um showpiece or whatever, but just to be like, if I got it all done.
Were you trying to prove yourself then on that one?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I never looked at it as being unseen, because it made me very seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But doing it, it did. It was one of those things, because it wasn't just so this guy saw me do it, and then the next manager come along and add more to my plate, and they'd see me do it. And so it
Uh-huh.
just it snowballed into every manager in the building knew
Yeah.
that if they dropped it on Charmaine's plate, it would get done, whereas they couldn't count on their own admins to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sorry, I'll let you go back to
That's
talking.
form of people pleasing there too.
Oh, but yeah, that is
Yeah.
something that I didn't even really recognize it as people pleasing,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because I took it as a part of my personality. This is just who I am, and this is just what
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
do.
Right.
And
Yes.
because I wasn't looking, and then it was as I was working with Jodi that it came back that it's like, but if I don't do this, what are they going to think of me? And it was like, okay, so yeah, I'm trying to please people that, if I dropped dead at the aerodrome, they'd have somebody in my box, like
Yep.
in my seat within a couple of weeks. Would they know what to do? Hell no, because I've locked them out of everything.
Yeah.
But they would start doing the job their way,
Yes.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And just
It's like, why are you going above and beyond when you are just so replaceable the next
mm-hmm.
day? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you putting all that hard work in for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I look at it, like I don't know how to not be that person. Like for me
Hmm.
to not do what it is that I know that I can do. Um, it's a lot of the times it's not about them. It's
Yeah.
about me. I can do
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
this, so why am I not doing it? Like, but that's how I am in all of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can take my own garbage out, so why am I not taking my own garbage out? I think the
Right.
only concession that I've made is I don't want to wash floors and clean toilets. So,
Mm.
Yeah.
so I've hired somebody to come in and wash floors and clean toilets.
Yeah. I think we have to look at like what it costs you. Like if it doesn't
Hmm.
cost you anything, like, emotionally, physically, mentally, like if it's actually something that's like giving to you, that's a different thing. But if it's
Hmm.
like, okay, this is like, in order to do this, I have to make a compromise myself, or like I have to push through. I have to keep pushing through to do this, right? That's where we want to look at, okay, so this is a pattern that is actually hindering my life now. It's actually not helping me anymore. It's hindering me. And it's costing me my health, or it's costing
Hmm.
me my peace of mind, or it's costing me like the quality of relationship I want. It's like, though, that's why these patterns, it's so interesting to start to notice the patterns and see what they are and how they're actually playing out in our life. Like, what does this actually look like for us? How is it um affecting us? If it's no
Yeah.
longer serving us, no longer helping us, like, what is the effect on us, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we have to do then is we have to go against the pattern. So, like, if it's people pleasing, then we have to go against that pattern and be like, okay, I recognize right now that I want to do this thing because I want to make this other person happy. It's like we have to go against the pattern and go, okay, that's what I would normally do, is I would normally do that so I could keep this other person happy. But right now I'm not going to do that because it makes me unhappy to do it. So I'm going to choose me instead of them. And we have to go against the pattern because we have to show our nervous system, oh, I survived that. I'm still safe. Like, I'm safe without doing that pattern. Right. And so one of the ways that we do that is to give ourselves like a new truth around guilt, because guilt is such a big driver. Because
I was
as
just
soon
gonna
as,
say
yeah,
the guilt around choosing that other thing.
totally. And choosing ourselves, like the guilt around choosing ourselves is like so ingrained in us to be like, well, that's pretty selfish. Well, that's pretty
Hmm.
self centered. Well, who do you think you are to do that? Well, that's not being a very nice person. Like,
Yeah.
that voice in our head starts popping up. And so we have to give ourselves a new truth. And that new truth is that guilt is not a stop sign. So when I feel guilt, it does not mean that I'm doing something wrong. It means that I am doing something new.
Mm.
Yeah. So reminding ourselves of that when guilt comes up. And what that is the new thing you're doing is freeing yourself of those old patterns and those old conditionings. So by going against the guilt, you're going against that survival pattern. You're going against the story patterns we tell ourselves in our head, and you're going against a belief pattern that says, well, I don't really deserve that. So we prove those survival patterns wrong in our body when we take back our power from them by going against them, doing the opposite of what we would normally do. Because then our nervous system realizes, oh, I actually didn't die when we did that. Like, I'm still here. It's okay. So when we don't retreat from guilt, like, something shifts in us, right? And we start realizing there's a difference between discomfort and danger. And we learn to stay like present with our own wants. Because what happens if when we go into those patterns, we just abandon our own wants. We're just like, I just totally disassociate from what I need, and I get focused on what other people need, or go into survival. So I'm just doing what I need to do to survive. I'm actually not connected anymore to what's true for me or what I want.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so
So
when
that
we go, sorry.
so would this be that like we have to recognize the differences in the guilt that we're feeling because guilt with doing something new that's not serving us is one type of thing, but like because when you think about guilt, you always think about having done something wrong. And so
Right.
there are times where we do things that are wrong.
Right.
And so it's part of it is retraining our brain to recognize there are different types of guilt that we're feeling
Mm-hmm.
on this. Okay.
Totally. And
Yeah.
the guilt is always the story that we're telling ourselves, right? It's always the story that we're telling ourselves in our head, like, oh, I did that wrong. Oh, I'm a bad person. Um, you know, if I was a better person, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't have done that. Or, that's, if I do this, then that's being selfish, or that's taking from somebody else. Like, it's always a story. Like, the guilt is always a story in our head. So it's like recognizing that that's what's happening, is we're telling ourselves a story of guilt that was like never even our story to begin with. Like, we've just taken it on, and we're living our life from it. And so, yeah, when we stop doing that, when we recognize, okay, guilt's not a stop sign, just means I'm doing something new, not doing something wrong, doing something new. And then you go against the pattern, you experience proof. You didn't actually lose yourself. It's like, oh, I didn't actually lose myself. Like, all of my real desires and my dreams and everything that I'm here to be, do, and have, it's still here. It's still inside me. It's just been buried under all these decades of living under these patterns, like, of all the like pushing through and the people pleasing and the caretaking and the over responsibility and all of those patterns that we have. And so when we don't retreat from the guilt, we move from like living in obligation, where our life is like onerous and heavy and limited and dictated and repetitive, and it feels small, to living in availability, where our life feels like expansive and we feel free and we feel like, oh, I'm like actually the one that's leading my life. Like, it's not just like I'm responding to life all the time, reacting to it. I'm actually like the one that's leading it. So we're like soul and self-led, and that life is a lot bigger and more unlimited than what we've been thinking. Because when we're living inside the pattern, we're so constricted as to what we think is available to us. And when we start going against our pattern, then we start to understand, we start to have this like deep knowing that like, I'm becoming available for my life, and becoming available for my life doesn't mean I stop caring about others. It just means I stop disappearing from myself. So I get to be like the main attraction in my life, right? So what does it mean to like, what does it mean to stop disappearing from your own life? So the way I think of this is, I think that it means like you're creating and establishing a relationship with yourself. And that's like sort of like just a new, like a paradigm shift to look at it, because we don't actually think that we have a relationship with ourselves sometimes. Like, we don't recognize, oh, I actually have this relationship with myself. And that's how I stop disappearing in my own life, is I start establishing this relationship with myself that is a relationship of like self-love and kindness and compassion and respect and honor and generosity, like a guilt-free relationship with ourselves. Yeah. So,
nice.
yeah, because that's what happens, is like we have these patterns, we adapt them, we become them, and then that's how we treat ourselves. And we don't even really realize it. We don't even recognize, oh, that's how I treat myself. Like, I criticize myself. I feel guilty. I have this way of treating myself that I don't even really realize. It's just happens. It's so automatic. And then when we start to realize, wait a minute, I can like look at this relationship I have with myself, and I can decide to make it a different kind of relationship, like one that is a relationship of respect and kindness and generosity and compassion and self-love. So a relationship with yourself is really a relationship with your soul. So like, when we have a relationship with ourselves, it's like it's through our soul's perspective, because our soul knows and sees the truth of who we are. Our soul knows our deepest dreams. It knows our longings. It knows like everything that's possible for us. And our soul is pure, unconditional love and safety. So we have like two parts of ourselves. Like, we have the human self, and then we have our soul self. And when we decide to create a relationship with ourselves, it's really about merging those two, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what people, call alignment. Like, like I used to hear that word alignment, and I would always be like, what the hell is that? Like alignment. What does that even mean? Right. And then after years of doing this work, I'm like, it's your human self and your soul self coming together. That's what alignment is. That's what authenticity is. It's what wholeness is. And it's also what safety is. Okay. There's no safer feeling in the world than when you're in relationship with your soul, when you're aligned with your soul. Because when we're connected with our soul, that's when we can access our truth and our intuition and our wisdom and our true feeling of safety. It's the foundation that we feel safe enough to be able to expand our life. Because when we don't feel safe, we're just in shutdown. Like we're not able to expand and change our life. We have to be able to have that solid ground of like safety that we can like actually build our life from, feel safe expanding. So without our relationship to ourselves, our soul, then we just feel like we're stumbling through life and we don't have direction, and we're disconnected from our intuition and our guidance. We don't have any comfort. We don't have assurance. And like, it is a really hard way to do life.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I know that I think we're all where we're like, no, thanks. I'm not willing to do life hard anymore. Right. I'm just not willing to do that. Like, had enough of that. Ready to do life in a new way. So to step into your magnificence, which is like, the name of this masterclass. So we're learning to release the guilt, right? That recognizing guilt's not a stop sign, doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong, just means I'm doing something new. We're recognizing and being open to releasing those old limiting patterns, the survival patterns, the story patterns we tell ourselves, the belief patterns that we believe. And we're establishing that new relationship with our human self and our soul self so that we know our truth, can live by our intuition and our inner guidance. We can experience that alignment, and we can recognize our truth. Like, what's true for me? Because that's really important in helping to recognize, release those patterns, to know what your own truth is. And most especially, like, what feels safe in my body, right? To become that new foundation that we can grow from. And all of these things so that you can become a powerful manifester, because that is what is going to let life be easier when we can use the powers, universal powers to manifest. So the relationship you have with yourself, it's the relationship you have with yourself that manifests. And most people don't know that. We've been sort of led to believe that, there's this common misbelief that your happiness is what manifests. So a belief that says like, well, I just need to be happy all the time in order to manifest. If I'm just happy all the time, then I can manifest a good life. And then what ends up happening is we end up believing that we can't manifest a good life because we can't stay happy all the time. So I want to dispel that belief, because it is not the mood. It is not your mood that manifests. So mood does not manifest. Who you are manifests. So it's not how happy I am all the time. It's who I am. So it's that relationship that I have with myself that manifests. So we are a spirit having a human experience, right? So that means that we're going to experience, all the human emotions, right? Like we're still going to experience loss and grief and sadness and anger and resentment and disappointment. Like we're going to experience all of those things because that's the human experience. So nobody's exempt. But that is not who you are. So if you believe like, well, I'm an angry person, for example, then you're just going to manifest situations to be angry about, because your angry energy is a match for angry energy. Versus, I am an empowered woman having an angry moment, or I'm an empowered woman having a sad day. or I am an empowered woman processing grief or processing loss or disappointment or resentment. So that's honoring your humanness. Like that's like the human experience, but it's also, so it's allowing yourself to have that human experience, but that doesn't dictate who you are. So those emotions don't dictate who you are. So you dictate who you are with your relationship with yourself. And your relationship with yourself is who you know and believe and have decided yourself to be. So who you know, decide, and believe creates your energy. Like who you believe yourself to be, who you've decided to be, who you know yourself to be, that creates your energy. That creates your frequency, your point of attraction. So your relationship with yourself is actually your power source, because your relationship with yourself generates the emotions you feel most consistently, because emotion is energy in motion. So every emotion has a frequency. And so your relationship with yourself, if it's based in self-love is a high frequency. So it's up here. And so when you're in a relationship with yourself that's self-love, that's most consistent. That's your most consistent emotion. So it's up here. Then you say encounter loss, the human experience, right? And so you encounter grief. Well, grief is a very low frequency, right? So your energy dips down here. But your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your soul stabilizes you, okay? Because that's who you are. So you're able to process the emotion of grief and then maintain your relationship with yourself, the frequency up here again, that's self-love. Because your relationship with yourself is not determined by external circumstances. Your relationship with yourself is determined by your internal, like it's established internally. So the relationship you have with yourself is who you are, and who you are manifests, right? So if you're not manifesting what you want in your life, you don't need to force yourself to try to be happier. You need to look at your relationship with yourself, because you don't manifest from your happiest moments. You manifest from your relationship with yourself.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like this whole new paradigm shift. It's like, oh, yeah, because we've always believed, oh, I just need to be happy. I just need to be happier, and then I'll manifest happier things, and I'll manifest a better life. And it's like, oh, that's actually not it, because that's not sustainable.
No.
Happiness isn't sustainable. But the relationship with yourself, if the relationship with yourself is based in self-love and based in generosity with yourself and kindness and compassion, then that's just who you are. That's your energy. And that's going to be your most consistent energy. And it's what your most consistent energy is, that is the attraction, right? That's the frequency you're at, and that's going to be the attractor. That's going to be the energy that you attract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. I've always looked at and it's connected to your emotions. Like, so when you say it's when you're happy is when you feel that you're manifesting, like that but for me, it's always been faith-based. And I don't mean like a Christian faith-based. It's like, if I have faith, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So if I put, and I guess that's based on being happy. So, and most of the things that I manifest is when I let it go.
Yes, I know.
And
yeah.
it's like, and it's, so I fret and I fret and I fret, and I'm like trying to manifest these great things.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I guess happiness is connected to it, but I never really clued into that. I was just like, if I put it out there, it'll come. But it was when I let it go, putting it out there, that it came.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of stuff attached to it.
Exactly.
It was more of, you know what, I got to stop stressing about this. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Absolutely.
And some of the biggest changes in my life have been when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's exactly it, because you're in a place of non-attachment, right? Like when
mhm.
we're like, I need this, I want this, it's got to happen, it's got to happen. Like we're in a place of scarcity and we're just hanging on tight. Well, nothing's going to manifest from that, right? It's like when we release it, it's like, okay, when I'm like this, I'm gripping it so hard. It's like, okay, well, I can't even receive anything because look, I'm just gripping, right?
Yeah.
If I let it go, I'm like, oh, look it, I can receive all sorts of good things now because I'm
You're open.
available, right? And it's like you let go of like telling the story it's not going to work. I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. That's what we're telling ourselves when we're
Yeah.
in that need place. And then when we just let it go, it's like, oh, then it just manifests because it's like, oh, because I already set the intention and then I just let it go. And so then,
Yeah, and
yeah,
you let the higher power dictate whether or not it was something that you're actually supposed to be manifesting.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
interesting. That's interesting because I never really thought about it as an emotional thing. I thought about it in the control factor,
Yeah.
where I'm trying to control the outcome, but I
Mm-hmm.
never really thought about it as an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Me neither. I
So,
like you. I always did the belief thing, but for me it was like if I'm just more spiritual, if I just believe in the
mm,
universe more and put out
Right.
things into the universe, then it'll come back. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's interesting what you said, Charmaine, is like, you're like, okay, I just like released it to God. Like I just kind of trusted that. And it's like, okay, that's that soul connection. It's like, okay, that soul connection. So it's like when we're in alignment with ourselves, our human and our soul is connected. That's the energy that we are. Like that's who we are, right? So it's like I'm in this place of faith. I'm in this place of trust. Well,
mhm.
that's when we can attract stuff, right? It's like that energy. We just can like call it in, call it in, call it in, and we don't have like this grip on it at all. We just have the faith with trust. It's like, okay, if like you said, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. My biggest changes in life have come from that, but even like the smaller ones,
Mhm.
for me, it's been having faith in the it'll be what it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
Whether
Mhm.
it's something that I think that I want or haven't even looked at that option of it. It ends up being what it's supposed to be. Too
Right.
busy trying to control the outcome.
Yes. Yeah. And that's when
Yeah.
we're gripping. It's like, oh, I'm trying to
Mhm.
control. And that's why it's important to release our patterns because those patterns are trying to control things.
Mhm.
Like we are trying to control like how people see us. We're trying to control the how things turn out. Like, one of my survival patterns was always like I would try to control what was happening around me. Like when, I was a kid and shit was going down and everything was chaos, it was like I would start cleaning. I was like a 3-year old who would drag their chair over to the sink and wash the dishes. And I knew how to use a broom. Like I'd start tidying up and picking up things. Like I was trying to control my environment to try to make things better, to try to feel better, to feel like I had some power, like I had some control.
I do that now.
Yes, yeah, that's a survival pattern, right? And it's like that's when we recognize, okay, this is not going to help me. Like my control, I cannot control external circumstances. I cannot control other people. I cannot control what happens. I only have control internally of what I'm thinking, what I'm believing, how I'm speaking to myself. Those patterns, right? That's what I have control over. And when we heal those, that relationship with ourself becomes stronger. And I don't even want to say like when we heal those. I want to say like when we recognize those patterns and we go against them. When we're really being like, okay, normally I would abandon myself in this situation to do what other people want me to do so that I can make other people happy, so that I can be validated or I don't get criticized or I can like be acknowledged or feel gets some kind of feeling of like love. So it's like when we recognize that, oh no, that's my pattern. I'm just doing what I've always done and I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not self-abandoning myself right now. That's when we come back to that relationship with ourselves. It's like, okay, I'm not actually abandoning myself in this moment. I'm creating a new relationship with myself. I'm showing myself that I value myself. I value myself more than I value somebody else's opinion of me. And so it's that relationship that we start building with ourselves that is the relationship of who we are. And who we are manifests, and who we are creates our life, right? Because who we are is the foundation and the source of everything. It who you are, the relationship you have with yourself, it affects creates your health, it creates your wealth, it creates your success, it creates all your relationships. So, like for, I think it was Donna said, like in one of the earlier workshops that we had, she said that she remembered one of the things that she remembered from working our private work together was that we teach people how to treat us. And the way that we teach people how to treat us is through our relationship with ourselves, right? So how we treat ourselves shows and teaches other people how to treat us, because how we treat ourselves shows them what we tolerate, what we don't tolerate, how we respect ourselves, how we don't respect ourselves, how we honor or don't honor ourselves, what's acceptable to us, what isn't. And because our energy enters a room before we do, if we are a woman who has a relationship with herself where we honor ourselves, respect ourselves, love ourselves, people feel that energy and then they treat us accordingly, right?
Yeah.
But if we haven't learned how to create a genuinely loving relationship with ourselves, and so our relationship with ourselves is one where we're pretending to love ourselves because we don't know any other way, that energy enters the room before we do. And people can feel that, and then they treat us accordingly. Like we don't matter, like we're invisible, like we're not good enough. And this is where we attract narcissists.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. Because they literally have a radar for that, right? Like narcissists are just like, they're honed in, they know, right? So it's our relationship with ourselves that creates the relationships in our life. And it's also the relationship that we have with ourselves that creates, like, it's the relationship we have with our body. So it also affects our health. And the relationship we have with ourselves creates our worthiness or our lack of worthiness and what we believe is possible and available for us. So it impacts our success. It impacts our relationship to money, like whether it's hard to make money or whether we never have enough money or whether there's like, or whether we're in lack all the time, right? Or if we're in lack or scarcity, right? So your relationship with yourself can either create the life you want or it actually can block the life you want. So if you're not living the life you want, there's something, or, you know, maybe like there's something in your life, or maybe like lots of things that you deeply desire, that you want for yourself, or that you just want to be different in your life. The only thing between you and what you want is your relationship with yourself. That's what's in between those things.
Well, damn.
Yeah. Damn it. Yeah.
Who wants to be blamed for their own problems, right?
But it's also freeing because it's like, oh, this isn't up to anybody else. Like nobody else gets to decide this. This is me. I get to decide this. I'm totally in control of that. So it's me and there's what I want. And the only thing that's in between is my relationship with myself. What? I can fix that. I can work on that. I can like change that. That's in my control, right?
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah, there's so much chance, so much possibility. Yeah. So it's like, if there's something that we really desire that is missing, the work is not to go chasing it. It's to deepen our relationship with ourselves. Is to like
look inward.
Yes, create that relationship with ourselves. So, I told you I'd tell you, like, I'd teach you the manifestation, like how manifestation actually works. So you've learned that it's the relationship with yourself that manifests, right? But how does manifestation actually work? So are you guys ready? Because this is like gonna just like blow your mind a little bit in all the best ways. Because everything you wish to manifest begins first in your imagination. So when you can see it clearly in your imagination, it's 99% created. Did you know that? Like, when I learned that, that is what blew my mind. But quantum physicists have actually been able to prove it, because the process of creation is that everything is created energetically first. So when you decide you want something, when you have like conjured that image in your imagination, it now exists energetically in your energy field in the 4D, which we cannot see with our human eyes. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means our human eyes cannot see something at that vibration. And what brings it from the energy field, from your energy field, the 4D, into the 3D, where we can see it with our eyes, we can see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, are your thoughts, your beliefs, your focus, your words, and your emotions. Okay. So let me, I have a slide for you guys so you can see this.
Thank God, because writing this down is going not well.
I'm pretty sure I missed one of them in there, because you said 5 things and I got thoughts, beliefs, words, emotions. What was there a 5th one?
Yeah. Thoughts, beliefs, focus, words, emotion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will share this screen and then you guys can see that. Okay. Ta-da! Okay. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. So this is the process of creation. Okay. So your thoughts, beliefs, focus, words, and feelings. Okay. So you have it in your mind and you're thinking about it. You're believing it's possible. You're focusing on it. You're talking about it. All of these things, your thoughts, your beliefs, your focus, your words, they create your feelings. And feelings always drive our actions, and feelings always create our attraction. And our actions and our attractions, so the things that we do, how we behave, actions we take, and our attraction, our frequency, which is determined by our emotions, because all emotions have a frequency. Actions plus attraction always creates a physical result, a manifestation, an outcome, objects, experiences. So this is the process of creation. It's a universal law. It's not human made. Like, this isn't a human concept. This is actually universal law. And so universal law means that, like, wherever you are in the universe, this law is consistent. It applies. So it applies to everybody in this universe. Nobody is exempt, like gravity. Nobody gets a free pass, right? Like universal laws are universal laws. So God, creator, the source, gave us free will and then gave us these universal laws so that we have the freedom to imagine what we want. And then we have the consistent, dependable, universal laws to manifest them. So the universal laws work for everybody. It's just that a lot of people don't know about them. People don't know about them, so they're not using them to their advantage, or they're actually using them against themselves and making their life way harder than it needs to be. So the universal law that this is called the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And I know that sounds like it's made up, but it's actually a law, right? It's a law of physics whereby energy cannot be destroyed or created, only transformed, right? And because everything is energy and energy is always in motion, transforming from one form to another, right? So that's why the energy of water can transform into ice, or the energy of water can transform into steam. That's this law, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Energy is always transforming from one form to another. So this process of creation here, it's the energy of your thoughts. So your thoughts, again, thoughts, beliefs, focus, okay? The energy of your thoughts, belief, focus, words, these energy of thoughts transforms into the energy of emotion, okay? Because when you say something to yourself, when you think something, when you're focused on something, when you're believing something, all of that thought process transforms into the energy of emotion. And the energy of motion transforms into the energy of action and the energy of attraction. Because what we feel drives our actions, and what we feel creates our frequency, our point of attraction. And what we do and what we're attracting creates the energy of things. So objects, experiences, manifestations. So this is the law of transmutation in action. Transmutation of energy in action. And what's really important to realize is that the result that we get over here, the manifestation, always reflects the original thought, the original belief, the original focus. Okay? So this is the process of manifestation. You guys have any questions about this?
No, that actually makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, why didn't somebody tell us this? What? I've been here 55 years. Nobody been telling me this. What is going on? Yeah.
I'm sure we could figure out why they don't want people to know.
Exactly. It's
why
like,
it's not taught in school.
yeah, like we've been taught like this manifestation is like this big mystery. And it's like, oh, it actually isn't. Like there's an actual process to it that we can actually use intentionally to create the results that we want. Like, that's amazing. Okay.
This training of manifestation and intentional thinking is big money right now.
It is. It's huge. Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, if you learn this, it's like having the keys to the freaking universe, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. This is how I create the things I want. This is how I create the life I want. What? This is way easier than I was thinking it was going to be, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop sharing there. And so like when I teach this, like sometimes people are like, okay, well, you know, does this require me to like be a little delulu? Like, to be able to like have something in my imagination and think it's going to like manifest in my life, right? You know, because, you know, or people will accuse you of that. Like, oh, well, that's you're being a little delusional, aren't you, to think that that's possible, right? Because maybe you're choosing to believe something that nobody in your family's ever or manifested before or experienced before, or none of your friends, or maybe nobody. Like maybe there's nobody that's ever done it before, right? You're choosing to believe in something that you can't see yet in the 3D. So that's why people say, oh, well, that's not possible, because they can't see it, right? But like, I always think of the example of, you know, the Wright brothers who invented the airplane, right? Like they imagined the possibility of humans being able to fly in metal machines that could become airborne. Like they saw it in their imagination, right? And people told them, yeah, you guys are crazy. Like that's not possible. That's never going to happen, right? But they applied their beliefs and their thoughts, their focus, their words, and their emotions to it. And then they took action and they attracted people and opportunities to help them with their vision. Like people were actually bringing them metal and doing all these things, giving them all pieces that they could like form propellers out of and everything, right? And now every single one of us has gotten on a plane and flown somewhere as if it's the most normal thing ever. But but when planes first became commercial and available to the public, it was actually commonplace for people to be using those little paper bags to get sick because people had a belief that flying in planes wasn't natural and it would make you sick. Like, I'm sure they still have those bags, but now, we just believe it's normal to fly in a plane. So it's not very common for people to be using those anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, let's use this universal law of perpetual transmutation of energy, like as an example. Okay. So say that you want to manifest a new relationship in your life. Okay. Say it's like a man that you want to call into your life. So in your imagination, like you can see him. Okay. So he is a whole solvent individual. He's worked on himself. He's done his own inner work. He takes responsibility for his life. He knows who he is. He's successful in his career and financially. He's independent. He's not looking for anybody to be his mama, right? He's looking for somebody to be his friend, his lover, his companion. He has a great sense of humor, good morals. He shares a lot of your same interests, and he is sexy AF. Okay? So you can see him in your imagination. Like we can all see him in our imagination. And he is already 99% manifested. Because guess what? That guy, he already exists. Like he's out there living, walking, talking, living, being, like he already exists. And so does money, and so does health, and so does anything else you see anybody else having or doing, and anything else that you can see in your imagination that you don't see out there. It all already exists. Okay. It's your beliefs, your focus, your words, your thoughts, your emotions, actions that attract it into into like vibrational form, right? Because what we're doing with our, like when we have it in our mind and then we're believing in it, we're thinking about it, we're focusing on it, we're talking about it, and then we're taking action and attraction. What we're doing is we're holding that vibration. Like we're holding the vibration of it until it changes form. So until it takes form in our life. So it's like, after I believe it, I will see it. And we always think it's the other way around. Like, it's like, when I see it, then I'll believe it. But it's actually, like, that's backwards. It's like, I have to believe it, then I will see it. Like, after I believe it, I will see it. So you're not being delusional. You're using the natural law of the universe to work for you. And that's a game changer, because it is so exciting to be a conscious, empowered woman in relationship with herself, her soul, using your imagination and the natural laws of the universe to manifest the things you really want. So it's like reminding ourselves that manifestation begins the moment you decide who you are and what you are available for before life confirms it. So before you see it. So it's like believing it, then I will see it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And so one of the biggest hindrances in that, and I'm not trying to put a negative spin on it, is the actual having faith in what it is that you imagine that to be. And I guess that's where your self-worth, connecting your self-worth to it comes in.
Totally. Yeah. That's where all those patterns that we have. That's why those are the things we have to, go against to prove to ourselves that those aren't true. Yeah. Because those are the things that get in the way of our manifestation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at the imagination part. And
Mhm.
it's I think where I falter is that, like the emotion part gets in the way,
Mhm.
because then I second guess, which then doesn't always lead to the action and the attraction.
Right.
Like, if that makes sense. Like, I'll say
Yeah.
that, like that manifesting that partner.
Mhm.
And then, you know, mainly because I'm really tired all the time lately, it's just like I don't have energy for that.
Right.
Will be the the next thing that comes up. And then it's like, then, like it's still working on letting go of the previous, I
Yeah.
guess, for lack of a better word, trauma that you experienced in the relationships that you had, whether, like, I mean, some of it is, I guess it depends on what you consider trauma, but
Mhm.
anything that created that negative experience within previous relationships, when it's still kind of sits within you. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know if that makes sense or not. Then it stops you from the action, which leads to the attraction.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because those are created by thoughts, right? So it's like all
Mhm.
of those are created by the thought. So it's the thought, it's what you're focused on, what you're thinking about, what you're believing.
Yeah. And I think that my biggest thing that comes up is like not feeling worthy of that
Mm.
type of relationship, but it's like
Yeah.
the finding it, the negatives of the online dating. And
Right.
you and I have talked a lot about things coming naturally in life.
Yes.
And I'm not I have a really hard time picturing myself finding that person on a dating website.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to do it that way. Like you
No,
can
but then I
manifest
also
it
have
any
to,
way you want.
yeah. But then I also have to, like, I manifest meeting them organically, but
Yeah.
then I have to put myself out there to do
To meet
things.
them organically.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, am I going to run into Mr. Right in the grocery store because that's the only place I go? Like so it's
Yeah.
create, it's, in it. I look at it as in a two-part kind of series created, like with this here. I'm manifesting the life that I want.
Yeah.
And in doing the manifesting the life that I want, I'm going to manifest the relationships that I want, but I have to do one to get to the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
remember, between you and what you want is your relationship with yourself, right?
Hmm.
So it's the relationship with yourself. That's the focus. And when you get that, then everything else can flow into your life. And it's like, yeah, you can definitely meet him in the grocery store. Like,
Maybe you'll meet him in
Yeah.
Mexico.
You know
yeah.
what? You never know, right? I just I'm in such a state right now where I'm like, even my aunt, she looks at me, she's like, "Good Lord, you look tired." And I'm like, I am, like, physically, emotionally, mentally,
Yep.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm tired. So,
Yeah.
and when I'm in that state, I don't see things around me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Right could be standing right beside me and I'd have a conversation with him and go about my business and not give him a second thought.
Right.
Because I'm just like, you know, in my head, I'm just like, I'm too tired for this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you don't have the availability for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not
Yeah. And
available for it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah. And I
exactly.
know,
Not your time
like,
yet.
no, and it's the, like and I'm not actually like for that actual part of my life. I don't, it's not it's a want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like it's
Right.
not something that I focus on
Yes.
very often. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about it in our private sessions every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while, but it
Yeah.
hasn't been a focus for me for several years. It's like I have other things that I want
Mm-hmm.
to work on and to create differently in my life. And that hasn't been, because I've looked at that as being an interruption to the rest of what it is that I've
Mm,
been wanting to
yeah.
do.
So see, when that's the belief, of course it's not going to show up because you're like, no, I'm not ready for it. It's going to be an interruption. So it's like, pause, push away. Like, no, that's not happening. Right. It's like, yeah. So,
no, but I think it was important for me to recognize that too, in order to get that alignment of
absolutely.
my soul and because I like but I also think that like I've been thinking a lot about what the next steps are, and even though God and the universe, we're like, you need to slow down and you're not listening to us, so this is what's going to happen at this moment.
Exactly.
In my head, I've had those thoughts of what the next phases in life are and how I need. So my word for the year being balance. I've been thinking about that for quite a while, and even the last 3 weeks, I've ignored the balance.
Yes.
Because in my head, I was like, I just need to make it to the 23rd. If I can make it to the 23rd and get all of this stuff done, then I can focus on the balance. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it's all about like what we're believing, what we're telling ourselves, like the thoughts, the words, the beliefs, the focus, right? That's what's creating what's happening in our lives. Yeah. Okay. So in your guidebook, we're going to like jump timelines and imagine that it's 1 year from now. So it's January 24th, 2027. And you are looking back at 2026 and you're writing, the version of me who chose herself now believes, and just pick the first thing that comes into your mind. The version of me who chose herself now believes about herself, about her life, about what's available to her.
Crickets.
You're not coming up with anything?
No.
Yes. So there's like a belief that, like we talked about earlier, it's like, well, I don't know what I want. Like we have this belief that, well, I don't know what I want. It's because there's a block that's being like, well, it's not safe to want something. It's not safe to want something because I don't want to be disappointed. It's not safe to get my hopes up because, I'll just be disappointed. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. So there's no reason that I should get too excited about anything. Like we have those patterns, right? And those are getting in the way of us being able to say, this is what I want. Yeah. And because like we talked about that relationship we have with ourselves, that creates safety within us, right? That safety is what allows us to feel like, oh, it's safe for me to want more than I have right now. It's safe for me to want bigger things. It's safe for me to say, hey, you know what I want? I want this. I want this relationship. I want this money. I want this experience. Like it's that relationship that we have with ourselves that allows us to feel safe enough to start declaring what we want for our lives. So it's
it's hard for me to pinpoint some of these things because I'm literally sitting at a Y in my road right now. I can take this road or this road, and I've been sitting in between for the last 4 months, and I'm just can't make a bloody decision because whichever decision I make, my life is going to change completely. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so
that would be hard.
Yeah, it is hard because that, like what we were talking about earlier, how like when we have that alignment with our soul, that's when we can feel our intuition. That's when we can feel our own inner wisdom and our own inner guidance. And it's like when we feel that, that will tell us like, should I go this direction? Should I go this direction? Like we can feel it in our body. But when we're disconnected from ourselves, it's really hard to feel that signal, to know like what's the best thing, because we're living externally. We're like, okay, if I make this decision, it's going to impact this person. If I make this decision, so and so is going to think this about me. If I make this decision, well, then people are going to judge me. Like, it's like we're living externally. So it's like we're stuck because we can't make a decision because we're trying to like do it from the outside instead of doing it from the inside.
Yeah.
And that keeps us stuck all the time. Like 100,000% of the time, that will keep us stuck because it's like we're trying to do everything from the outside world rather than what is our own truth, what's inside of us, what's our inner guidance. We have a story that says, well, I don't deserve to have what I have. I have to look after everybody else's emotions first. I have to make sure everybody else is okay. I don't want to do something that someone's going to judge me for, because then I'm going to feel like I'm being rejected or abandoned, or, you know, that I'm not safe in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it always comes back to that relationship we have with ourselves, because when we have that relationship with ourselves where we're like aligned, we can feel our own truth. We're like, no, this is my truth. This is what I'm doing. You people can all have all the feelings you want about it. You want.
See, I have a problem because then I have immense amounts of guilt.
Ah,
Because this
right.
Mhm.
decision is going to affect somebody else's life in a major way.
Right. Yeah.
So,
But
so either decision you make is going to create like, and I'm not trying to pry, but I'm just trying to understand, because I've been in positions where if I go to make a decision, it's either I'm staying the same or I'm making a huge change. But if I understood what you said correctly, that you're at a Y in the road, and whichever decision you make is going to hugely make a huge impact either way.
I think it's either going to, yeah, it's going to make a huge impact for either myself because I think deep down I know what I need to do, but
Mhm.
it's getting
Past the
to,
fear of doing it.
yeah. So then if I choose the other road, that's the big one it's gonna change a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
things.
hmm,
It's like, I, I guess putting somebody else before me still,
hmm,
Hmm.
yeah.
which is what I've done my entire life.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
for me
Hmm.
to go against that, it feels very wrong. It feels very guilt-ridden and like I'm going to be the worst person in the world because now I've just upheavaled somebody else's life and yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And
And
yes.
and at the same time, it's like because obviously this is about my relationship with my partner.
Hmm.
At the same time, it's like they are probably the best person I've ever been with, but there's still some things that are missing. So it's like it's hard when you still love that person.
Hmm.
Right.
But it's like
Yes.
those things are never going to come, I don't think.
Mhm.
So do you just settle and stay because it's good, but there's things missing? Or do you move on? Yeah, it's just it's a tough one.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
it's like, you know, the truth, right? Like inside, you know what the truth is for you, right?
I think, but it's getting my mind and my heart on the same page,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that is where I'm stuck.
And
Yeah.
there's a fear there because it's like, well, if I let go of this, is there going to be anything else better? Or is this as good as it gets?
Yeah, that too. Am I going to find somebody that is as supportive and kind and literally knows all my like knows everything about me without
Hmm.
me even having to say anything. Like I'll have a
Right.
certain look on my face and it'll be, oh, are you like he's very in tune, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a
But
lot
is
of,
this,
go
sorry,
ahead,
is
go
this
ahead.
really about finding somebody else, or is this, like making a decision like this? Is it about finding somebody else, or is it about, you know, you strengthen yourself to be that person for yourself? Like, I don't know how else to put it, but
No, for sure.
Mhm.
I've never focused on myself, and I know I
Hmm.
have a lot of like healing and things that I need to do in order to be able to be probably a better partner for somebody else as well. I think there's a bit of trauma bonding between me and my partner right now. So I think that's a huge part of it as well.
Yeah.
And then like I know deep down like for me I would like to focus on myself and my
Hmm.
healing and my kiddo. Um he's going through a lot too. And then to have another person in there that is also struggling, it's like I'm managing everybody else but myself.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
doing everybody else's healing but myself.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, it's kind of a cliche, like to say, like, the person you're looking for is you,
Yeah,
Hmm.
right?
And
But
that's what
that's
was
what it
going through my
is.
head. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
totally.
what it is. It's like, like the relationship you have with yourself is going to be what you attract, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're thinking, well, if I let this relationship go, will I ever attract somebody else better or, as good? And it's like the relationship you have with yourself is going to determine who you attract.
Yeah.
So it's not an external thing, it's an internal thing. So it's
Yeah.
like the relationship that you build with yourself, that you like be intentional about, this is the relationship I'm building with myself. I'm letting go of these old patterns that keep me small, that keep me doing the same thing on repeat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to build a new relationship with myself. That is going to create a whole new relationship for you because that's the frequency you're on, and you're going to attract that person into your life.
Yeah.
So people show up in our lives because they show us, oh, this is what I'm
The,
believing about
the
myself.
mirror.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. Absolutely. Yes. So that's what happens. So it's like, it's when we're at this, you're at this Y in the road, that's the decision that you're really making. Like, am I choosing myself or am I choosing somebody else? Like, am I choosing to believe in myself? Am I choosing to know that I can have this relationship with myself and I will attract the right person into my life that is an equivalent match to me? Or am I going to just keep choosing other people and let that define who I am?
Yeah. Which
Mm-hmm.
is yeah. I definitely like if this were to if I did end up choosing myself,
Mm-hmm.
then I have a hard time, I guess, staying myself. Like I'm always attracting like I was not trying to get into another relationship and it just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I kind of like beat myself up over it because I wanted the time to be alone, to work on myself, to do all these things for myself. And then I went and attracted this person, but maybe they were supposed to also be part of my healing journey as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're there to show you like, oh, yeah. So I could have just like bypassed all of this and pretended like it wasn't there. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, this relationship is making it very clear that these are the things within myself that I can heal, that I can release, that I can, make peace with, that I can form this relationship with myself. Because remember, your relationship with yourself creates everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it definitely creates your relationship, right? So it's
Yeah.
always the relationship with ourselves that creates everything in our life.
Right.
And so it's like when we
Yeah.
can bring it back to that and stop thinking of it from an external thing, then that's when we're like, oh, okay. So this it's always me. I can always create what I want. I can always create a new relationship based on the relationship I have with myself.
This is so funny. I'm like, I've always been like, well, why do I keep attracting these men who are so like, uh, it's
Don't use the
me. The
word,
call is
don't use
coming
in the
from inside the
broken.
house.
Mhm. Yeah. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
and kind of go back on what I don't know what kind of work you've had with Jodi, but she tells me often I don't own their feelings and their reactions.
Yeah.
They own them. Their
Mm-hmm.
feelings and their reactions are on them,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
not. not what I've done,
Yeah.
not the choices that I've made, because that's a lot of where our guilt stems from, right? Is
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we think we own and we're
Hmm.
controlling their
Or we're
actions and
responsible.
reaction. Yeah.
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 So
Absolutely.
by you choosing to stay, you're going to have resentment build within you, but you feel that you're controlling or you're owning their
Mhm.
happiness
Yeah.
Yeah.
by
Well,
Yeah.
doing it.
especially when they're telling you like they want to marry you and stuff, and you are not there at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. So that's, like the
Makes it even harder
choices.
because for them, you are they're the
Mhm.
one, but for me, that I don't feel the same. So then it's like now you're
Exactly.
responsible because you're gonna break that person's bloody heart.
Right. So you're trying to manage their emotions.
Yeah.
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 It's like, that's an
Yeah.
impossible task. That's an impossible task to manage other
And
people's emotions. It's
Yeah.
a
And
fruitless thing.
and just the guilt of like he moved here 7 hours from where he was, and like, I don't know. I have a lot of guilt if
Yes.
I am
And
going
a lot
to.
of stories that you're like telling yourself, like, oh, he moved here. And so, I gotta, like, I'm responsible for that. No, like, he has free will.
he made a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he made a choice. Like, he came here. And who knows that that's not part of like his life plan, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe it was like you drawing him here. And then whatever happens, if you release him, this brought him to where he needed to be because that's what he needs for his life. It's like
Yeah.
we
And
can't
I've thought
try
of
to
that too.
manage. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and if I can say here, like whatever decision it is that you make, if he turns around and blames you,
Mhm.
then he's not emotionally mature enough. Like, especially after you, if you're
Mhm.
honest with him and you're not making it like if you don't do this and make it his fault, like that's not your
No,
intent.
we've
Yeah.
definitely talked like in the last few months. Like he knows I'm kind of at a crossroads, and like I don't quite know what to do. But no, he supports either direction.
Mhm.
Mm. So he's
Yeah.
aware.
He's
Yeah.
aware.
That's
Exactly.
half the battle.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and
Exactly.
I'm not trying to make light of this at all
No,
because I
no,
know
I don't
what,
think you are.
yeah. And because I know like 7 years ago, I cut off contact with a very toxic relationship and decided that I was going to, you know, and that's where my fear of allowing anybody into my life because they
Mhm.
might, the roller coaster had finally stopped.
Yeah.
And, and in the last 3 years, I've been able to maintain a balance. So allowing anybody into that is very fearful for me because I wouldn't want that pendulum to start swinging the other way again.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I
Yeah.
get it.
But
I was
yeah,
in a very abusive relationship for 9 years and then was out for 6 months and then got into this one. So it's like
uh,
I
Mhm.
totally,
Yeah.
yeah.
But when you change, what you attract changes, right? So when you change, the relationships change. So
Yeah.
like who you are today, like you both of you would not attract the same relationship that you had before
Yeah.
because you're not the same person you were back then,
Yeah.
right? So you're not going to attract the same thing.
Thank fuck because I've had too
Yeah.
many of those ones.
Exactly.
uh, you
But I
know,
still
like
have to deal with them because I have a kid with them. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you can also look at this relationship that you're in right now. At least it's not the abusive, you didn't go back into another type of
Mm-hmm.
abusive relationship that
yes,
way. So
true.
you had
Mm-hmm.
already manifested somebody different and who
Yes.
was in some way, I would assume in some way supporting your healing for you to be
Yes.
able to even get to this point to be able to go, I'm not sure this is what I want.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
been that's why it's hard because he's been the most supportive, like kind,
Hmm.
like, you know, it makes it extra hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really like you've evolved, right? Like you've evolved from your previous relationship, right? So it's like,
100%. And
yes,
then since having my sessions that I had with you, I've even evolved even more to where it was like,
absolutely.
well, now this relationship isn't, I don't think, what I want
Mm-hmm.
either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it is really about that evolution, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, so we can, you know, you guys have the journal questions there, but I'm gonna share this with you because this kind of ties into exactly what we're talking about here. So let me find my slides again. There they are. Okay. I will share this. You guys can see. This is just exactly what we're talking about here. Okay. So what you're describing is this, like where we're sort of making the
Yeah.
same decisions over and over again, right? So life is
Yeah.
changing, but it just keeps changing to the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Life is on repeat, right? Um, or the other thing we also do is like we make all our decisions and we base our life on what is or what happened in the past. And
Yeah.
so life just keeps changing to the same thing. But what happens, because we're focused on what happens in the past, is it actually starts to get smaller. The circle gets smaller and tighter, and life shrinks and it gets more stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or what we're talking about here, what you're saying, like the crossroad that you're at right now, and also like how you've changed from your previous relationship and you've changed since like the work that we did together, is now your circle is expanding, like it's becoming, like it's evolving. There's different layers to it, right? So you're making new decisions based on what is possible, not what is the present situation.
Right.
And you're not making decisions based on the past, you're making decisions based on the future. So your life is changing, it's evolving, it's expanding. So your
Yeah.
life just keeps growing. It keeps growing richer and more fulfilling. And this is what's happening with you, because it's like, yes, that first circle, that was my first relationship. And then I grew from that one and I went into this next relationship. And then I'm outgrowing that relationship and I'm evolving into the next one. So it's like,
I don't
this
even
is
want another one. Like I just
no, but you're
want,
evolving out of it, right? You're
yeah,
evolving out of it where you're like, okay, like, and you know, because it's like, okay, when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay, how does that make you feel?
to stay how I
Yes.
am.
Yes, like yes, stay how you are, stay in the relationship, stay where you are. How does that feel?
Uh, I mean, I guess that's the answer right there. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, because that's how we always know. It's like, okay, when I'm thinking this one option and I feel like a constriction, I feel like my body goes, it constricts on itself, right? It's
yeah,
like, that's how we know that's not my truth. Okay. Because like I've talked about in the other workshops, truth always feels good in your body. Truth feels like expansion. Truth feels
yeah,
like free, right? It's like, oh, that feels good. Like that's truth. Untruth feels like constriction, feels tight, like we're shrinking. Like it's like, ugh, gut
yeah.
punch, right? Like it doesn't feel good, right? That's the difference. And so it's like, that's what tells you.
But then you feel bad for feeling that way. For me, anyways.
Yeah, but see, that's the guilt
Yeah.
story popping up, right? The guilt
Yeah.
story is like, oh, I shouldn't put myself first. Oh, I shouldn't do what's good for me. I should always think about other people. I'm not a good person if I'm like this. I'm being selfish if I think about me, right? It's like that old story
Yeah.
is going to try to keep you the same, because our patterns, they're called patterns because they just repeat themselves, right? They
Hmm.
want us to stay the same. And it's like, no, I don't want my patterns to run my life anymore. I want to keep evolving. I want to keep evolving to who I'm meant to be, not just my life back here on repeat or getting smaller. I want my life to keep expanding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
Yeah,
sometimes we need to wade through the weeds more than once in order to remember
totally.
what that is supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I think also I'm not saying that you can then Like once you make a decision that you can change your mind. But this is something that I tell my sister quite often about, when she talks about where she wants to live. Um, if you make the decision, you can always make another decision.
Totally. Yeah,
Yep.
You don't have to
exactly.
go backwards, but you can make another decision that might just change the trajectory of where you're going.
True.
Very true. Absolutely. Yeah. It can be like titrates, we just
Yeah.
titrate a little bit, right? It's like, you know, we don't just
Just change
make
by 1 degree.
Mm-hmm.
exactly, exactly. That's so true. That's very, very true. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. So, like the choice, like the decision, like that one bold, brave decision I was talking about that we have to make for ourselves, that we want to make for ourselves to like start to shift things is like, I'm no longer willing to postpone myself. Like, I'm no longer willing to postpone myself because that brings up everything. That's like, oh, postponing myself is me shrinking, me repeating the same patterns, me making the same choices over and over again, me settling for things, me continuing to people please, me continuing to push myself further, keep pushing through. That's me postponing myself.
Yeah.
So it's like this one brave decision that we have to make for ourselves is I'm no longer willing to postpone myself. Like I'm not putting my life on hold. I'm not putting myself on pause. I'm no longer willing to postpone myself. It's like that's that brave decision that we want to make for ourselves. And that decision then starts to expand our life, right? It starts this evolution
Mm-hmm.
of upward expansion, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So our life grows more into what we want it to be, right? It becomes more satisfying, more fulfilling. It feels better. We feel more of who we are. We feel more alive, right? We feel like we're actually living our lives instead of just like watching it pass by or just getting through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so um when we begin making decisions from like possibility instead of the past, instead of keep looking back and going, well, like sort of the story that you're telling yourself, like when we stop doing that, when we start looking at like making decisions out of possibility instead of the past, what we do is we need a new way of living that supports that. Like we need a new way of living that supports us in living this way, a way of still staying connected to ourselves and a way of choosing ourselves again and again and again, because that's what happens when we don't keep choosing ourselves. We just fall back into the old patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want to be choosing ourselves again and again. We don't want to keep postponing ourselves. And we want to choose ourselves again and again without burning out, without like shrinking back and disappearing. And so this is what like I call the Magnificent Circle. Okay. So this is a way of belonging to yourself. Okay. And the center of it is your relationship that you have with yourself. So it's a way of like the relationship with yourself is now the way that you belong to yourself. That's the way that you are like trusting yourself. It's the way that you're aligned with yourself. It's the way that you know what your truth is, your intuition, and everything in your life then is fueled from that relationship that you have with yourself. So it's what evolves your life, right? And
Right.
so, yeah. So you're at the center of the circle, and everything in this circle grows from this center. So the first layer is you in a trusting relationship with yourself. This is the foundation, right? Because when we're in a relationship with ourselves where we don't trust ourselves, every decision in our life feels heavy. And that's where you're at. It's like, well, this feels like such a heavy decision because I'm not in a relationship where I trust myself.
Yeah.
Every decision feels risky because it feels guilty.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I can't make this decision for this reason. And if I make this decision, then I'm going to feel guilty this way. And life feels hard then because it feels like I never know what to do. And I have to like brace myself against what might happen. But when we start to establish trust with yourself, even just like 10% more, like, we talked about just a little bit more, then that's when we stop abandoning ourselves. Like even in just like really subtle ways, like just making like just a little choice, right? That's when we stop outsourcing our own knowing. Like we stop like abandoning our own intuition, like ignoring our own intuition. We start trusting ourselves. We start listening to ourselves. So we don't just override that, voice that's telling us, that intuition that's telling us this is what feels good to me. We don't just bypass it. And we start responding to our life with intention, which is like so much more empowering than just reacting to life. We're actually responding to life, like we're being conscious about it. So from there, this circle just naturally expands into the decisions that you make from self-trust, not guilt. And like, this is what we've been talking about. This is where we get stuck, not because we're confused about what we want, but we're conflicted about whether we're allowed to want it. And that's what you're saying right now, right? So this layer is really about learning how to choose from alignment instead of obligation, like we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. From truth instead of fear, from self-respect instead of self-criticism or self-sacrifice or whatever that postponing is that we do with ourselves, right?
Yep.
And when our decisions change, our life changes, right? So the next layer is you having support and belonging that lets you soften. And I know like this word soften, like it's kind of a buzzword right now, but it's really like, it actually does really capture that sensation of that you experience when your nervous system feels safe, right? When your nervous system settles and when you can actually allow yourself to receive like support and belonging. Because, most women learned that the way to survive is to like hold everything together, be capable, be strong, be fine. Like we all learned how to do that, right? As a way to survive. But true growth happens when we let go of those patterns, right? True growth actually happens not with more effort, like Charmaine, just keep pushing through, right? That's not what true growth creates. True growth. What creates true growth happens when we have support. Like support actually helps us have growth because we actually get to feel safe, right? Yeah, because effort is like, oh, I've got to behave a certain way. I have to do things a certain way. I have to look after all these other people's feelings. I have to manage these. Whereas support lets your nervous system feel safe and come back to its own equilibrium. And it's from that place that we feel safe enough that we can grow. We can make new decisions. We can make new choices because now we feel safe. It doesn't feel like it's unsafe to make a decision for ourselves, right? So when you feel safe, you can make new decisions for yourself. When you feel safe, you can allow yourself to want more and feel safe wanting more. You can allow your life to expand, right? And then the next layer of this is steady guidance that nourishes your expansion. So like, this is like not somebody telling you what to do or, somebody else's expectations or a formula or anything. It's guidance that helps you like see what you can't see yourself. It helps you recognize your patterns and return to your own wisdom, like your own intuition again and again. And all of this builds. So all of this builds, and you naturally begin living in alignment with your magnificence, right? You start having a new relationship with yourself, a new way of being, right? So you start to notice, oh, I'm making different choices. Oh, I'm responding differently to things. I'm choosing differently. I'm expecting differently. Whereas before I might have just settled for this, now I'm expecting something different for myself, right? I believe something different about myself. Okay. And that's when life starts responding differently. So, do you guys have any questions about that one? That slide?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, this circle, this upward evolution circle, that's what I call the Magnificent Circle. Okay. And it's a new way of being. So it's what I'm calling my new program. So it's not a ladder, it's a circle, right? And with every evolution, you and your life deepen, right? So instead of going in that little circle that just goes around and around where we're on repeat or it's getting smaller, we're evolving up. And with every evolution, you become available for more of your life, right? So it's not those crossroads anymore. It's just that evolution. And when you're living with the Magnificent Circle as a way of living, there's always a new layer. So it's like, okay, well, I manifested this relationship. Well, if I can do that, then I can manifest another relationship at this other level, right? Or say, we could say, I manifested, $100,000. Well, if I can manifest $100,000, I can manifest $200,000. If I manifested, say I manifested greater health and vitality. Okay, so now I'm going to manifest that trip to the Amalfi Coast in Italy because I'm evolving. I'm always expanding. My life is always expanding. I know who I am, and who I am manifests, right? Because who you are manifests. So with the Magnificent Circle, as a way of belonging to yourself, you're generating your life, right? So that's a paradigm shift from like feeling powerless to change your life to like being empowered, like knowing exactly how to change your life. So it's a shift from like life feeling hard to life feeling available to you. Like things are possible to you. Like life is exciting again because it's like there's no limits. Like I get to decide, I get to create, right? So this is my new program. It's called the Magnificent Circle. I'm super excited for it. Like you guys better lace up your Lulus, okay? Because I'm so excited for it. We are going to take basically everything that I've been sharing in the workshops, the masterclass, and we're going to embody it. And that means like we are going to take it all from the external, like as external information and knowledge, to internal embodied understanding and wisdom. So it's that embodiment that lights the spark of growth within you, because that's a new relationship with yourself, right? It changes the way you see yourself and what you believe about yourself and what you believe is available to you. So it's the seed, right? The seed that begins growing a new way of you being and you living. Okay. And I called it the Magnificent Circle because it's that evolution circle. But I also called it the Magnificent Circle because your magnificence is you loving yourself, you being who you want to be, you having what you want to have, you experiencing what you want to experience, and you living the life that you actually want to live. That's your magnificence, right? And the Magnificent Circle is the process. It's the way in which you will create and experience your magnificence. So in the Magnificent Circle, we actually, like, you'll study yourself. And like, where else in life do we ever get to do that? Like we know more about the systems of our jobs than we do about ourselves. And yet we're the liver of our lives, right? So wouldn't it like really benefit us to know like what truly sets our heart on fire, what we're really honestly passionate about, what genuinely matters to us, and what is really going to let our lives feel and be magnificent, right? So when we study ourselves, we learn what the unconscious beliefs are, those patterns, right? That are hiding in the blind spot, that are creating the hardship, that are creating the disappointment. We understand, like with compassion, what those fears are that we have, the worries, the insecurities that have been holding us back. And we see, like with clarity, those limited stories that we've been telling ourselves about our lives and what's possible for us and who we are. And we can then see how much bigger we can believe and what we can be and what we can live and what more is really available to us, that we are in fact unlimited. And once you know that, you can't unknow it. So that's what is so important. Like we've all experienced something in our life where it's like we totally believe something and then suddenly we couldn't believe that anymore. And it's like this example that I remember I taught this at a workshop like many years ago, like one of my earlier workshops. And I actually ran into a client recently and she's like, I never forgot that story that you taught me. And it's like this story where you and I are on a hike and you're further up the path than me. But as you're walking along, something like catches your eye and on the edge of the path, and you jump back and you say to yourself, oh my God, it's a snake. But now that you've jumped back and it's not in the shadow anymore, you can see, oh, that was just a broken branch. So you carry on. But then I come up the path behind you and you hear me say, oh my God, it's a snake. And you think to yourself, oh yeah, I remember when I used to believe that. And no matter how much I insist, I'm like, no, it's a snake. It is a snake. You're like, you're never going to believe it's a snake again, right? This is what happens when you know yourself. You can't unknow yourself, right? And that is what the Magnificent Circle will help you do. Know yourself, know who you are, know what matters to you, what your deepest dreams and desires are, and what you are capable of living and having, right? So you no longer go back to unknowing that. You no longer go back to the shrinking and the settling and the postponing yourself and all of those patterns, right? You know different, so you are different. And from this knowing, that's where everything changes. Your relationships, your health, your possibility, your what you allow, what you claim for yourself, what you believe is possible for you. So the Magnificent Circle is my one-year coaching program for women who are ready to grow in a way that's steady, self-led, deeply aligned without fixing yourself or burning out. It's designed for women who want to have that ongoing support as they evolve. They make clear decisions. They stay connected to themselves as they expand. We're going to meet twice a month. And on the first and third Friday of each month, 11 a.m., Pacific, live on Zoom. It's going to be a party. It's going to be at night. We're going to do it at night.
Hey, I mean, it's Friday.
Exactly. And every session is going to be like teaching, live coaching, like very similar to what we do here. And there's no private community to keep up with. Everything you need is going to be like inside the live sessions and the integration that we do together. My intention is that this is not something that's going to overwhelm you. So it's like depth over volume, presence over performance, real transformation, just like not overwhelmed. We don't need more to do, right? So you come live when you can, you receive the support, you get the practice choosing yourself consistently. And most importantly, you don't do it alone, because as women, we're not meant to like do this alone. Like transformation isn't meant to be solitary. Like it's so much more effective when we come together, because just like we've been doing here, like it's like as we're talking things through, we're able to see things. We're able to like recognize things in each other that we recognize in ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Magnificent Circle is for the woman who wants to become a priority in her life consistently, who wants to build that soul-led relationship with herself, who no longer wants to carry everything alone. She wants to be supported through what matters to her. She wants to stop guessing, second guessing herself, start trusting herself. She wants to experience more presence and aliveness, just like every day, like just that becomes your new way of being. She wants to begin choosing herself in ways that actually change her life. And she wants to know she belongs to her own life and allows it to evolve from that knowing. So, and I would also add that she's somebody who likes to laugh. Like she's a woman who loves to laugh because we have fun together. You know, we do deep, meaningful work, but we also laugh. We bring levity. We enjoy like just the camaraderie that we have together because we're real women, right? We need that. So, before we wrap up today, I just wanted to say like what we've done today is not only about information, it's about like availability. So women don't struggle because they are like, because we're not capable or because we're not committed enough. We struggle because we're trying to transform inside systems that were never designed to support women choosing themselves. You know,
Yeah.
women don't fail, the system fails women. That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens is like we make a decision for ourselves, we make a brave decision for ourselves. And then what happens is life just pulls us back into urgency or it pulls us back into responsibility or obligation or caretaking or like our life just pulls us back in. And so ongoing support really matters, right? Like we need someone to hold us through that so that we get that chance to practice this way of being again and again until it becomes who we are. Because remember, who we are creates our lives. So this is why I created the Magnificent Circle. So it's a place where you get to choose yourself again and again, not just a one-time thing until it becomes who you are. So it's not a question of if you're capable, because you certainly are. We're all capable. That's the thing. It's really a question of, you know, do I do what I've always done and like live the same year again or have the same experiences, or do I choose something different and allow myself to evolve? Okay. So, you know, if that feels good to you guys, then I'd love you guys to join. The investment for the year is $2,997, or $297 per month. And with the full payment, you get 2 months free. Also, for a limited time with your registration, you'll get 2 bonus private coaching sessions with me. And you can book the first one with me after you register. And then the second one is your wildcard session. So you can use it anytime throughout the program when you want one-to-one support. So I will put the link in the chat for you guys. So you have it. Our first class will be Friday, February 6th. And I'll just stick this in the chat for you. So
Can you
have the
email
link.
it to me?
Yeah, I'll email you
Yeah.
guys. In fact, I can
Thank you.
email it to you too, Shanae.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I would love to do it and join it. I think it would be great for me, but I also need to wait until some things are done with James, which should be in the next couple weeks. So
Yeah.
I will miss probably the first few.
Yeah. We can chat about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll chat about that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So I just want to thank you guys. Like, I want to thank you guys for being here. Like, honestly, you
Thank you
guys.
for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was good,
Yeah.
even though I missed 1.5 of them.
Yeah. But, you know, it's like, I look forward to seeing you guys so much. And I'm just so grateful, you know, to have you guys here and to see you and to get to like, you know, work with you, talk with you, support you. You know, it just means everything to me because, you know, without you, I couldn't do what I love to do or what I'm here to do. And yeah, so I'm just so grateful for you guys. Really, like I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, it really is. Um, means so much to me that you guys are here and that you're so willing, you're so willing to like dive in and look at yourselves and take the, look at what we're doing and take action on it and, really process it. Like that takes a lot of bravery, it takes a lot of guts. And, I just really want to say that I really appreciate that and admire that about you guys. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And also that this week, so I'm headed out to celebrate my birthday tonight. So this replay will actually go out tomorrow in the Sunday Surprise Edition, which I hope you guys are loving the Sunday Surprise Edition because I'm having fun creating that each week to see what the surprise is. But also, Charmaine is a birthday queen this week. Yes. So Goddess Charmaine had a birthday as well. So Charmaine's birthday was on Wednesday. Mine was on Tuesday.
Happy birthday to both.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm in my Freedom 55 era. Charmaine's younger than me.
Only by a year.
Yeah.
Only by a year. I'll be in Freedom 55 next year. In fact, I'm Freedom 54 this year.
Which I love.
What I'm looking. Yeah.
Yes.
What I'm trying to, that's what I would like to manifest is the Freedom 54.
Yeah, exactly.
So when 55 rolls around, it's just a given.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's it's what we make it mean, right? And so yeah, like that Freedom 55 for me, I'm just like, buckle up. Like it's on. It's on. This is happening. This year is going to be magnificent. So I really thank you guys for being here. I'll email you both the link right away so you have it. And then I'll also send out the replay tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoy
and if you
tonight.
guys, yes, you too. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm heading to the beach to find my aunt now. She messaged me and said where she was. So that's where I'm headed.
Nice.
And I'm cold. If you haven't noticed, I wrapped myself up in the room, so I need to go outside to warm up.
Yeah, get outside in that beautiful heat and the sunshine, and get that ocean air blowing through your hair.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, Shanae and I'll be there later tonight. We're on our way.
Okay.
I got to hitchhike there because I'm broke.
All right. Well, that's going to be awesome. All right. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the sunshine, Shanae, out there, and enjoy the sunshine in Mexico, Charmaine, and have a good week, you guys. Okay.
You as well.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.